Good morning, gamers! Have you ever lost all of your stuff inside the Tabor before and thought, man, I wish I knew what I was doing? And while this guide may not be able to help you in case you counter a Ghost of Tabor rave party, or in case the recent bug patches really didn't patch much.
I just crashed again.
Do the orders! Alright, we're good. He's coming with us. I just crashed. Shoot me too.
This guide will hopefully be able to help some of you smooth brains out there become a menace inside of the Tabor. Also, this video is put together with the assumption that you already know how the game operates. I did make a starter guide about how players should get started in Ghost of Tabor and sort of how the game operates, which got up to 45,000 views somehow, but it did cause me to want to create this video because I constantly get comments about people wondering how to do certain things, and there's a lot of subtle nuances with this game that are just second nature to me after playing for so long that a lot of people don't really realize. So, assuming that you already know everything in the starter guide, let's go ahead and get into the advanced guide for Ghost of Tabor. Let's start with something simple that could be the difference between you knowing where all of your enemies are and you somehow getting shot in the back. We're all familiar with our friendly little raid timer. It's on our wrist and it lets us know exactly how much time that we have left until the map just straight up kills us, so we gotta get out with all of our loot. But did you know that it can actually tell you when you spawn into a raid versus the other players? According to the Ghost of Tabor developers, there is a buffer period of spawning into raids. To maximize playability and minimize wait times, instances are created, but you can also spawn into a previously created instance, and this buffer period can last up to 10 minutes. So, for example, you could spawn into a raid that was created 5 minutes ago, where somebody already looted elevator shaft, killed 2 players, and you would never know unless you saw it for yourself. When you spawn into raids, always check your watch. If the raid timer is not started yet and it's showing 2 dashes, that means that the buffer period is still in effect and other players have the potential to spawn in. So, if you manage to kill 5 players in silo, don't get cozy because another one could spawn in right behind you. This is because the server doesn't recognize whenever players spawn in, it only recognizes how many players are in the instance before the raid actually starts. So, even if you manage to kill all 5 players, the server will only recognize it as, hey, there's a silo match with only 1 player in it, and will spawn in another player or more accordingly. This will hopefully teach everybody to check their corners even when stepping around where they spawn in at, because an enemy could be pretty hungry and you look like just enough XP. Learn spawn points. Learning spawn points can help you know what you could be in danger from depending on the direction. Depending on how many players there are per designated squad, the game will disperse them among the spawns. I will say though that you do have about a 50-50 chance of somebody spawning on the closest spawn to you in at least one different direction, so be cautious out of spawn and try to run towards cover facing the direction of one of the spawns nearest to you. You don't want to be looting somebody when someone else comes right up behind you that you only had to walk a few extra steps to see. I'm also going to leave on the screen these 2 different screenshots of all the spawns on Island and Silo so that way all of you can have the best possible knowledge of knowing where all the spawns are for the players. Learn bot patterns. Ghost of Tabor is known for its challenging enemies with intricate attack patterns. Take time to study and learn the behavior of each type of enemy you encounter. Observe their attack telegraphs, movements, and vulnerabilities. By understanding their patterns, you can anticipate their movements and react accordingly, giving you a significant advantage in combat. Now, why would you want to learn enemy attack patterns and when they're aggroed? Because you can use these as a secondary radar. When I am in the Tabor, I actually actively avoid trying to shoot the bots in there, because the more that are alive, the more that I can use to determine where the actual players are, which, in most cases, are actually more of a threat than the bots. When there's a dead bot, that means that a player was not only within line of sight of that bot, but possibly even so close that the bot was a threat and had to be eliminated. If you walk by a bot that is patrolling with their gun out, that means that a player has passed by that area, and depending on how many gunshots that you've heard, if any, will help you determine how close that player was. Even if you're not planning on killing other players, this will help you determine where players are most likely at, which can help you survive, whether that's through stealth or confrontation. Traders. The only traders that matter in terms of leveling up are Spectre, Minty, and Shiro. You will be able to progress through and gain items through every level up to level 5 with Spectre and Minty. But Shiro has all of their things unlocked at level 3, so there's really no need to level him up any further. If you want a guide about how to level up your traders the fastest, there will be a guide at the end of this video you can click on. However, I want to show you something new that I learned after making that video, and for clarification, I did clear this with one of the developers. This is a strategy that is fully intended to be okay per their coding. For clarification, this method works with all collection missions, but I'm just going to show you one collection mission as an example. Out of all of them, Minty is the worst to level up, and this is a risky move, but can help you progress very fast if you do this correctly, and it is aligned with your other missions. For example, if you're trying to level up from level 4 to level 5 Minty, collecting 3 of these level 4 helmets can grant you 7,300 XP. If you buy it from the store, the game registers it as being from the store, a bought item, and you cannot turn it in. However, if you buy it and survive with it through a raid and come back, then you can turn it in. This turns it into a raid item. This is risky if you lose the helmet though, because they are 16 grand a piece, but through buying them you have the potential to get a lot of XP just by doing what you normally do in raids. It gives you more protection in the raids, and every time you buy one, it also helps you with the money progression towards Minty. Speaking of buying things, let's go ahead and talk about food. Food is a really big part about being able to survive for long periods of time. If you go in with full food and full hydration, you will not need to bring in anything into Silo. But Island is a different story. To maximize being able to take care of both, I would recommend bringing in fruit cocktail or any can of fruit you can find. These will satisfy your hunger and hydrate you at the same time. Additionally, the mechanics of the energy drink have changed. Previously, the energy drink would dehydrate you because of all the sugar and chemicals in them. However, that has all been thrown out the window and they act like a normal, regular liquid inside the game now. So you can get stamina and hydrate with an energy drink now. So I would recommend bringing in at least 1 to 2 of these into a raid on Island so you can use them in case you really need to hightail it out of a situation. Breaching corners. When going around corners, it's important not to expose yourself, but also not reveal where your location is through revealing your firearm, showing the tip, or any kind of laser. It's best to train your reflexes. Go into the training mode and train at breaching into rooms and having your firearm aimed down, and then flicking it upwards to shoot your opponent, because with having your firearm aimed down, you will not be fully seen until you enter the room, and you will gain speed when rushing into the room because your weapon is aimed down. However, you will need to practice this, because while entering into a room with your weapon aimed down, your enemy will have a slight advantage. Practice your reflexes. IR modes. Most don't know this, but the flashlight and the laser sight actually have an IR mode, which means they can only be seen by night vision. This is useful for close range and dark areas like Silo, but be careful, this can be seen by all those who have night vision. Night vision is an item I notice most players don't use, but they will still see your laser and your flashlight if you have it in IR mode and they happen to have nods on. Funny enough, this is actually what most people thought was a glitch inside the game. All you need to do to activate the IR mode that can only be seen by night vision, when you click it once, it will turn on the laser or flashlight. Click it again, it will turn it into the IR mode, and then you click it again to turn it off. I hope that guiding you through some of the game mechanics and how it works, as well as telling you some things that hopefully you didn't know, is going to make you better inside of the Tabor. Thank you all so much for being here. It really makes a difference in my day, being able to wake up every single morning and just see the impact that I'm having on making a positive VR environment for everybody. Whether it's through making you laugh, having a tech review, or just a quick guide on a game, I'm just proud to be somebody that you chose to watch. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any more questions on Ghosts of Tabor. Let me know what you want me to make a video on for Tabor, and I hope to see you in the next one.